I want to ask you something, and I want you to notice your first instinct before you answer. When did you last do absolutely nothing? Not sleep. Sleep is something your body demands. I mean, being deliberately, consciously, unapologetically still. Not productive still, where you're resting so that you can be more effective tomorrow. Not multitasking still, where you're watching something while you're also folding the laundry. Not earned still, where you sit down only after everything on the list is finished. Just still. Because you are a human being, and human beings are allowed to rest. If your first instinct was guilt, if something in you immediately started cataloging everything you should be doing instead, then this episode is for you. Because that guilt, it's not a personality quirk. It's not work ethic. It is not the price of ambition. It's a pattern. And tonight we're going to look at it together. Welcome to the return. Wherever you are right now, in your bed, on the couch, in a quiet room with the door closed, I want you to know that for the next few minutes, you don't have to be anyone. Not the mother or the spouse, not the woman who holds it all together. Just you. Take a breath with me. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. I want to start by telling you something about myself. I am not very good at rest, and I have not been good at rest for most of my adult life. And even now, with everything I understand about patterns and survival and the four bodies, I still catch myself standing at the kitchen counter, coffee going cold, running a mental inventory of everything I haven't done yet. Even on a Sunday morning, even on vacation, even in the quiet moments that are supposed to be mine. Some part of me is always calculating, always assessing, always asking, am I doing enough to deserve this stillness? And the honest answer I've had to learn to give myself is, that is not a productivity question. That is a worth question. I call this the earning rest pattern. And it is one of the most common and most quietly destructive patterns I see in women. Here's how it forms. Many of us grew up in homes or in cultures or inside relationships where busyness was the visible proof of our value. The woman who was always doing something was a good woman, a responsible woman, a woman who had her priorities right. Rest was something you earned after the work was finished, after everyone else's needs were met, after you had done enough to justify the pause. And the problem with that formula, the problem that takes decades to see, is that the bar is always moving. The list is never finished. There is always one more thing, one more person who needs something, one more responsibility that has crept in and attached itself to your name. So the permission to rest never quite arrives. You keep moving it forward after this or after that, when things slow down, when the kids are settled, when the project is done, when I retire, and it keeps moving just ahead of you, like a horizon you never reach. And underneath the busyness, something quieter is running. a belief that was probably installed so early you don't remember learning it, that your worth is located in what you produce, in what you manage, in what you hold together, and what you do for other people. And a woman who stops doing, a woman who rests without having earned it, is in some way that she can't fully articulate is less than. Let me tell you what that belief costs, because I don't think we name this clearly enough. The earning rest pattern keeps you in a permanent state of low grade depletion, not the kind of exhaustion that a good night's sleep fixes, the kind that sleep doesn't touch, the kind that lives in your bones, the kind that makes you wonder why you're so tired when you're sleeping 8 hours and eating reasonably well and doing all the things you're supposed to be doing. It's because you're running on empty. It's not a physical empty, depleted at the level of the soul. Your spiritual body, your emotional body, your mental body, they have been going without for years, while your physical body carried the weight of all of them. And here's what I want you to understand: rest is not recovery, or rather, it is not only recovery. Rest is not what you do to refill the tank so that you can go back to producing. Rest is not a means to an end. Rest is a fundamental human need, like water, like breath, like connection. You are not a machine that requires downtime to function more efficiently. You are a living woman who requires stillness the way the earth requires seasons, not to recover, but to regenerate, to return to yourself, to remember what she is when she is not performing. And when you treat rest something to be earned, you are treating your own humanity as a reward, something that you have to deserve. You do not have to deserve your own humanity. You simply have it. You have always had it. I want to tell you what I've learned, slowly and imperfectly, and with a lot of resistance, about giving myself permission to rest. The first thing I learned is that rest has to be practiced. It is not a state you fall into naturally after years of running. And for many of us, stillness feels deeply uncomfortable at first because the busyness has always been serving a function. It's been keeping something at bay. When you stop moving, everything you've been running from gets a chance to catch up. For me, what had showed up when I stopped was grief, feelings I hadn't made space for, questions about my own life that I'd been too busy to ask. It wasn't very comfortable, but it was honest, and it was the beginning of something real. The second thing I learned is that guilt doesn't disappear immediately. You don't decide to rest, sit down, and feel peaceful. You decide to rest, sit down, and feel the guilt, and stay anyway. The practice is not getting rid of the guilt, it's letting the guilt be there and resting regardless. Because every time you do, you are quietly telling your nervous system, you are safe here. You are allowed to stop. Nothing terrible happens when you put it all down for a few minutes. And over time, not quickly, but over time, the nervous system begins to believe it. The third thing I learned is this: rest looks differently for every woman. For some women, rest is an hour of silence with a book. For others, it's a slow walk with no destination. And for others, it's sitting on the back porch watching the light change. It is not necessarily sleep, though sleep matters enormously. It is whatever gives your four bodies the experience of being held rather than required to perform. Find your rest, not the rest you think you should want, the rest that actually returns you to yourself. I want to invite you to do something tonight. Just one small thing. Before you get up tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the coffee, before the list, give yourself 5 minutes. Not to plan, not to meditate in the way you've been told to or how you're supposed to. Just 5 minutes to be still. To let yourself arrive in your own day before the demands of the day arrive. And if guilt shows up, if some part of you starts composing the list of things that you should be doing instead, just notice it, name it, and then stay anyway. Because you are not earning the right to exist today. You are simply existing, and that is enough. And it has always been enough. You do not have to earn your rest tonight. You do not have to finish the list or solve the problem or prepare for tomorrow before you are allowed to close your eyes. You are a woman who has been working at life, at relationships, at healing, at holding it all together for a very long time. And tonight, for the next few hours, you are allowed to put it all down. Not because you've earned it, because you are human, and humans rest. Rest well tonight. I'll see you in the next episode.